Welcome back to the program. It's still Daybreak Africa, and we're reaching you from the Lagos studios of KAFTAN Television. Now today we're going to talk about something that affects everyone in the society, and that is social justice. Many a times as citizens of the nation Nigeria, we often seek justice. We look around, maybe between father and daughter, mother and son, we often want some sense of justice. There are things that even our parents that they do, we feel that, okay, that's not fair. Daddy shouldn't have done this. Mommy shouldn't have done that. And it goes from those little things even to the major things in the society where citizens do unruly things, and you're expecting some form of justice across the nation. Now, we're going to talk about this morning, and joining us to talk about it is Kenny Awujoola, an entrepreneur rather, and a girl child advocate. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining.
I hope I pronounced your surname correctly.
Yes, Awujoola.
Awujoola.
Wait, say that again.
Awujoola, gathering of wealthy people.
Okay, Awujoola.
Look at that.
Exactly. The gathering of wealthy people.
It's good to have you on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Now, I know that you have you publish you have a publication where you talk about issues that affect the society and all of that, and I feel personally that you are a good fit for this topic. Now, in your own view, or to a layman, what is social justice, and how would you express it?
All right, thank you very much for having me once again. It's so beautiful to be back in KAFTAN.
Right, right.
I'm a regular customer in Abuja, but it's so good to be here in Lagos branch.
We meet again.
Yeah, I think the last time we met was on Entangle.
Yes, engendered.
Yeah, endangered.
Engendered, yes.
Yeah, to your question, to a layman, social justice is just about fairness. The concept is just about fairness. How individuals should be treated. How a father to a mother to a friend, community, society, everybody's rights. In health sector, in our economic, how things should be distributed, what should be for who, which way should it be distributed. Just fairness, how one should be treated, equity. That's just because if you start using one big grammar like that,
I don't know.
Have to try to break it down again.
I don't even want us to make it too much about because when people hear justice, they feel it's just
who should do who should do this?
Yes,
what should be given to this person?
Judges and all.
The law.
No,
that is part of it, definitely, but it does not end.
We have legal justice, where you can always find redress to issues.
So, and that's why I mentioned earlier that there are a lot of menial societal issues that we tend to overlook, things that happen around us that we overlook them, but we don't know that some way, somehow, they shape the society, because it ends up affecting how the people around us think. I saw a meme some time ago, that should be maybe about 3 weeks, where there's a meme of Tom and Jerry. Tom was beating Jerry in the first frame. In the second frame, Jerry was beating Tom. Now, in the first frame, was saying that when I break the plates, how my mom reacts when I break the plates, and she's going to be like, why did you break the plates? You're so careless, you're this, you're that. When mom breaks the plates, then she still comes back and says, why did you put it there? If you had not put it there, I wouldn't have broken it, all of that. And those kind of things, I feel that in a way they shape our society, because I've seen, I don't know if we've experienced it, I've seen, let's say, acquaintances, colleagues, friends who grew up hating their parents because of things as minute as that. All this, it looks as though they are small, but by the time you put them together, it becomes such a big issue. Now, I want us to start within the home. How do we manage justice in the home. I know that in civilized
Homes,
saner climes, so to speak, there is a level of regard for children now, where parents now feel an obligation to tell the truth and be responsible for their mistakes.
Exactly.
But here in Nigeria, that's not exactly the case. You still have parents that will blame you for
their own mistakes.
Things that are clear that that D, you are the one who
is
messed up
wrong.
this time, but no, they will still find a way to sneaky way to maneuver around it and put it. Now, what are before we talk about the effects, let's talk about the causes. What causes social injustice within the family first, before the society?
All right, thank you. I would like to break it down into about 2 to 3 causes, areas. If you're looking at the African background, where most of us, I want to believe all of us are African, where we came from, there's this concept of adults are always right.
Very true.
I don't know if you understand what I'm
Yes.
saying.
There's even a saying in Yoruba language that says, let me interpret it. It means that there's nothing else to do with adulthood than to cheat
the younger generation.
But unfortunately, civilization, education has stylishly crept in, though everybody is not yet to that standard of now saying that, no, when an adult is wrong, she should be able to come to the fact that I have done something wrong and I need to apologize to the child. But then, like I said earlier, that's notion that the parents or the adults in the family are always right, and then the children, even when you have wronged them, they're still the ones to come back to tell you that
I'm sorry.
Those are one of the things that that shows this injustice in the family circle. And then also the fact about how kids, as when we were growing, is there an adage or the Bible verse that says that a child does not know is right from
the
left. Sure, you understand? That so it tends to, for that child, the adult tends to be more harsh to those children. They see it as correction. They see it as putting them on the right path, and the way they are doing it might not really go down well with those children.
It might not even work on the child.
Sure, you understand? Because it's just like when we're growing up, when area of punishment now. My twin brother, no matter how you beat him, but that thing that sure you understand. So parents need to try as much as possible to be able to know that kind of child and know the best kind of punishment that suits the child. Me, I'm a kind of person that I hate being disrespected. I don't like when they insult me or you talk to me with as in harsh words. Even when I sleep, when I'm alone, those words continue to ring back into my head. So I try as much as possible to do things that will avoid anybody talking to you anyhow.
I think we're on the same page.
You understand? So my mother got to that extent that she had understood me. So sometimes those early age when you wanted to go when you want to go to university or you want to travel somewhere and they need to tell you words that will sink into your head. Early in the morning, she'll come into my room, she'll wake me up, she'll sit me down. You know when they say strong words? That's even, like, example, let me give you an example. When I was going to the university and then she said, Mom, anything when she wishes that know the child of whom you are, then I don't want to receive call or I don't want to hear in you that my daughter has done this, my daughter has done that. So even when I got to school, it took me a long time before I could be able to like go for outing, blend with. It took me a long because sometimes I'll just remember that if I go to that birthday party and something going to happen. So you understand? So those words actually sank.
Because that was the method that
worked for me. For my twin brother, after beating, they realized that he doesn't joke with food. He doesn't play with food.
That was his password. So
yesterday he liked football. He's a Chelsea fan. So because he's scared that maybe they will beat Chelsea in this match, my twin brother will make sure he eats before he go and watch the ball. So that
just in case anything happens,
they knew that okay, they could get him through eating. You understand? Then he got to a level also again. My dad had to tell my mom that, no, I think it's getting too much. You depriving me of food. That doesn't lead him to going to do what he is not supposed to do. You understand me now? Right. So at some point, it was looking like an injustice. You understand me now?
Yes.
Because they saw it as like correction, like punishment.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the time, it is right to eat. It is right to be taken care of.
Do you want to have an unhealthy child?
You understand now? So it takes a level of understanding and sensitivity for you to be able to put side by side. I know when you are going out of hand,
when you are going extreme.
When a punishment or a correction is not getting out of hand, and then it's no longer you trying to put that child on the right path. It's now being injustice for the part
of the child,
a bit of abuse
of that child. And then lastly, I'm still going to be talking about the parent now and the adult. You know, in the African setting also, it's just like when your mother is correcting you, and probably she wants to slap you, and you just use your hand to guide. And then you
are the way to heaven.
So you know, African especially mothers, Kenny felt, I mean, you didn't even lift your hand to try to slap me. No.
Wait for your dad to come or any elder around, and then they'll not start saying, see, I was
on my own, and then she raised her hand to slap me.
So most those situations like that, it makes children very careful, feel very bad, and they don't. It affects. I wanted to be adding Yoruba to it now. it affects relationship between that child and that parent.
Yes, let's talk about this. Something else that came to my mind while you were discussing, and it's the part of people saying, "Oh, there's a favorite child in every family." So, of course, maybe I don't know how true it is, but don't you think that is also injustice on the part of the other kids in the house, because they do not beg to be given birth to in that household, and then the parent having a favorite child at some point they might not, show it, but in some families they do show it. Like they give more stuff to their favorite child. They do not punish the favorite child as much as they do to other children. So isn't that injustice on the part of the parents?
Thank you for that question. Like when I was saying, I was talking about being sensitive enough to know when you are going out of hand and you are showing favoritism to a particular child. In the family setting, before the child comes in, when a new couple gets married, look at the way the first child is being welcomed in a new marriage, in a new home. All the favorites we do, baby shower, this one, that. Now go and look at the second, third, and fourth child. No more pregnancy.
Anything like
you understand. First, most of the time, those things are part of what that has been accumulated. All those spending you have done in a particular child, probably your experience, like a child that the mother went through a lot of pain, labor or something. You knew what it is you that you can tell the story. You knew what you went through, or a baby that was born maybe preterm baby, and then maybe after the birth you still spent months in the hospital, and then from that baby stage you've been handling that child like an egg. So sometimes, even in your attitude, you yourself, you might not even know that there's a way you are showing that favoritism to that child in the house. It is only the children that will be able to discuss among them that mommy like this person, daddy like this person. Now, where it comes in, where that sensitivity has to come in for the parents, is that you have to now be very, very careful so that it's not so obvious that other children feel neglected. And then they see themselves not being so important to their parents, to mommy or to daddy, than this other person. But the truth is that we are human beings. There's that feeling of this thing is there to me. Even we women, there are some undies that we don't joke with.
That we love more
than another one. Especially when you're talking about breasts. You see that one. I know that when you wear probably is a dress, you wear it with or something that it fits. So you will still go back to it. So that's how it is when you have relationship with human beings too. So in the family, it's not like the parents intentionally feel to hurt the other kids. But situations, stories behind probably the birth or a child that had, like for me, there was a period, I don't know if I shared it on Endangered then, there was a time where I had an accident I broke my femur bone, and then my dad, I was actually transferred to Gbobi in Lagos then, but my dad didn't want me to stay in the hospital, so he had to get a private doctor for me in the house. They had to come and set up in the house, do a lot of things to take care of me in the house. Now, all eyes, care, affection, everything was on me.
And if he's not careful, he would have built a bond with you.
You understand? But at that time, every other person, my twin brother, every other person, Kenny needed attention at this time. So we discovered that sometimes, even when everybody's ready for food, everybody will leave the sitting room, they will leave the dining, they will come into my, because everybody wants to be around me that time. Even when I now started, I was feeling better using crutches. I can do little things by myself. My dad was still saying no. They should go and do this for me. They should go and do this for me. Now, it takes understanding for the rest of the children, because they are matured enough to understand that time that Kenny needed
attention.
So when I was even stronger, me as a child, now this thing don't enter my body.
Like you enjoyed the attention.
I enjoyed the attention, and then they wanted to do something that I still not want to do it. I said, all right, yeah, now. Go on.
Okay, I want to take it from outside the family now. And that's some of the things that we see in our society, that in some developed countries and some countries, they tend to become more soft in some of these matters that I'm about to mention. And that's cases where you have adults who are not necessarily your parents try to control you or take ownership of, take certain decisions for you. They expect you, for example, there was a case that happened, I think I was at a concert, where someone about my age got to the concert early. She was already there, she sat in front, and then this adult who came late, there was no space, was telling her that, okay, you have to stand up. And the lady was like, no, I'm not going to stand up. I got here early. I should be rewarded here for punctuality. You can't tell me to stand up when you came late, and simply because you're an adult. If you knew you were an adult and you could not stand, you should have come early enough to get a chair. And it became a really big issue, and was saying she had no respect and all of that. Now, these things, they're very popular in our society, and that's just one out of many. You know,
I also want to add to what you said. There's this popular, I don't know if it's always on social media, and then it's a question, like probably not a riddle, so to say, but it's a question where people will say, oh, okay, in a bus there's a pregnant man, there's an old woman, there's somebody who has broken his or her leg, and then the person is using crutches and all, and you're sitting there like, who would you stand up for? So I think these are part of the issues.
Yes, because the injustice we face in society. You want to enter a bus and someone is telling you that, oh, you have to wait because you are the younger one and all of that.
Or you have to sit in front. Exactly.
There's also the gender-based injustices that we face as people in the society. So some of these things, how do we address them? Do you still have another addition?
No.
Thank you very much for. Do you know, it's a very, very sensitive aspect and a very sensitive question.
Indeed, it is. I agree.
You know what? Where we come from, our background, where we grew, our orientation, the teachings, has a lot to do with this particular question and how you would behave and react when you find yourself in that kind of situation. Me personally, as a person, I would not, when I'm in an official, probably I'm in an official engagement, probably as we are to attend a seminar or a function which is official. You understand me now? I got there early, and probably an elderly person comes late. Ordinarily, I am not expected to stand for that person, except on a personal benevolence from myself. Probably the person, somebody that I know and I really hold in high esteem. You understand?
Yes.
It would come from me personally if I want to do it. You understand me now? Not the person.
It shouldn't be forced.
I shouldn't be coerced, forced.
It should be
into doing it. But there are situations that we'll find out. Like I said, that's if I want to do it. That's for official engagement and official programs. But on looking at it from the other side, looking at our African circle, how we're trained, giving respect to elders, to who respect is due, and all the rest. I've found myself in situations that countless times, even in church programs, that I got early and probably somebody that I respect, an elderly person, a pregnant woman comes in, I give my chair. It's my own individuality now. It is not everybody. You understand?
Yes,
and I cannot say that anybody that does not do it too, it's wrong because it's that person's right. So that's where personality differences comes in. The way I'm going to react to a situation or handle a matter is going to be different from the way Robert is going to undo that situation. But we should be able to discuss between these two of different personalities so that we don't see it as injustice and we don't see it as being too respectful. Let me use it that way.
Or maybe coming from a point of eye service, trying to make yourself look good in
it's very cool now.
It's usually a question of kindness.
Yes.
And doing what is sane.
For me, I cannot see a pregnant woman.
I wouldn't see a pregnant woman or an elderly person standing
and then you
feel so comfortable and then
I would not be comfortable. I'm not saying people.
But then some people feel like, this is my seat. Of course I can stand if I want to stand, but then people might feel like, you do not have any choice but to stand because this person. That
right there is
where the problem is.
The question where people feel that you have to, like it is a must. Do you even know if I'm not feeling well as well?
Exactly.
Do you know my condition? So people have a lot of reasons why they don't even want to stand up, and you don't know, but because you have a certain bias of maybe the person is young or because the person is a woman, you just expect that the person has to stand up for the other person. And
it's a question of individual
personalities. And now let's move on to the current generation. We see that, of course, there's the Gen Zs, there's people that are now, they are more open to communication, or they are very much bold when it comes to standing up for their outspoken, standing up for their right and what is actually very right. And now people see them, or the older generation see this set of people as, rude, as disrespectful. But now, coming from your end and from your wealth of experience, do you think that there can be a much better way where people can demand for justice when it comes to the society or societal issues? You think, or do you think that the younger generation can be more approachable or be a little bit softer when it comes to demanding for their right and what is supposed to be? We see it online.
I feel like that's a
we
very
see it on
question, but
we see it on social media. We see the way they call out. Of course, they call out the government, they call out people, and they call out elderly people, religious, persons that many people hold in high esteem, and they are like, this, that.
This week.
It's a whole lot. So, do you think it can be better?
Thank you for that question. Let me pick it from this perspective and use the last experience we had in Nigeria as a case study, the issue of NSAS. I will still go back to where I picked it from, where I talked about where we grew up, where we came from, our background. We came from different backgrounds. For me, I'm a very outspoken person, and one way or the other, even in my family, in my society, in my environment, I still demand for my rights. But now the question is, how? What approach? How do you go about it?
Exactly.
In the civil society world, what we believe when we want to demand for something, what we believe is you go out for protests. You
call them out, you drag them.
Well, even as with that, we have the three C's, the three P's. Is it P or C that we follow? First, we go into consultation.
Okay.
You understand? If those people are if they are a body, people that you can actually reach out to, you consult them, you reach out to them, you give that benefit of doubt. If this is our challenge, what are you going to do about it? This is one of the way you have been injustice have been melted upon us. Now, if they don't give you that listening ear, sure you understand, then you will be forced to try the other angles. That means even before protest, you have tried in speaking, you have tried in reaching out. But there's something about we the Gen Zs now. So don't let me exclude myself from it. The truth is that most of us, we banked. We are holding on this phrase of right to freedom of speech. We can say this. we can say
we
that,
should be able to
and
talk.
we are not really putting a lot of things into consideration. Some of us will come out and speak about our country, will come out and speak about our leader. You know, some people are spoken to a level that some people will even still bring their parents to be dragged on social media.
I was going to get to the social media part because it's just...
It depends on when you're asking for something, it depends on how you go about it. As a youth, and as a former National Youth Council PRO, I wasn't against NSAS actually. But you know, it got to a point that it was hijacked. Like I tell people, anytime we have issues, while we're in Abuja, when I was still in office, I do say that it's easy to call for a protest. But you are calling for a protest. You know the reason why you are calling for a protest, but you don't know the reason why every other person is coming for a protest. And then you can actually lead a protest, but you cannot know the end of that because you don't know the mind every other person is bringing to that protest. The important aspect of this, our Gen Z, is approach. Approach. Like let me slightly move to them calling out some of our politicians. We all belong to probably a state, you belong to a local government, belong to a senatorial district and all the rest. Yes, before somebody will come out and, like me, what I do for my bank, I don't want to mention their name here now. I don't know, maybe they have tried, they've singled me out, or they've understood how I relate with them. I tell them when there's a transaction that I needed to be credited back or something, and I send emails because I can't even remember the last time I went into a banking hall. So I send emails. The last stroke I used to draw is that I've given enough time. Don't let me go to social media and call you out. I'm telling you, in the next 24 hours, I'll see respond. It's not even that I'll see my money. Or I see. You understand? So actually, social media has been a tool for correctness. Let me say it like, let me use that word, if there's any word like that. But then, approach. How are we doing it? There are ways you can seek for redress. There's a way you can seek for something. You can ask for something. And at the same time, you are not disrespectful.
Because there are times that you see how some people come on social media. I call them keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
they stay behind the keyboard to call people that they can't even clean their shoes. They say a lot of harsh things to them. They call them names, all in the name of and the truth is that it is most of the celebrities that are suffering from this thing. Yes, not just the celebrities, sometimes our politicians. Now, I'm not against speaking up. Definitely we have to speak up. We have to have those hot takes at some point. But then it might not necessarily be fair on those people. And I want to take it from the perspective of the adults. Now, I know our time is fast spent, but very quickly, for adults, there are a lot of injustices against them. There was a time someone called Abike Dabiri. I can't remember the insult that was hurled at her. And it was really, really harsh. Even the most bulliest bully on social media had to say, no, this is too much, far-fetched. So, and you know that these people are mothers, they are adults and all of that. And we as youths, we can tell that this is not fair. Nobody wants to be addressed that way. Like a friend used to say, dragging is sweet until it's your turn. And when it's your turn, you know that it's not palatable. It's not palatable. So for adults, what can we do to ensure that they are not also disrespected, or there is no form of, because people are now taking advantage of it to cheat the older people. Now they know that the older people cannot talk too much on social media, because if they talk too much, they'll get dragged. So people are using it as some kind of platform to cheat them, and that's why we find that some celebrities clap back. If you insult them, they will quote you and insult you back. They'll give it back to you hot. So what are the other ways? What would you advise even the celebrities and the adults?
In the aspects for the adults, actually, we have most of our adults who know that are tech savvy. They are also gurus on social media. Right. We have celebrities that are now giving it back. The way you bring it, you collect. You get it back.
You can't even try to receive it.
You collect. So, you know, for example, what's her name? Eniola Badmus. Right. Gave it back to a lady. You see some of people come to social media on stories that they don't have backup, they don't have evidence. They just come up to just say trash about people, and in the name of I want to trend or I want to get known, or
now that Twitter is even paying money, it's now, it's now a really big pandemic.
A lot of measures has to be put in place. You have to be accountable,
right?
Whatsoever you do on social media. If you say something, be ready to be able to stand by it. Own it with your chest. Have your evidences. But if you know that whatsoever you are going to be saying, or any other person that you are going to be insulting or talking to, you don't have evidence for it, it's better you don't do it.
I think you know, there's something else I want to say. Sorry to cut you. It's the fact that in 1 minute, yes, abroad you can see children, you can see kids sue their parents, their mother. But in Nigeria, we do not see that.
We'll get there. Do you want us to get there? Because even those Abroadians that we are making an example of now, I can tell you that they are regretting a lot of those decisions.
But is there a space for that here in Nigeria? Is there a space that, okay, a child can walk into maybe an organization and say, oh, I want to sue my father because I feel like
I don't know 911 and mommy.
I can categorically tell you that I don't think there's a space for that. Even looking at it from the aspect of who owns the children in Nigeria.
Right.
You know, abroad, women has more edge. We are Africans here.
The father
if you leave a marriage, the woman goes. It's the woman that goes. You understand? You leave the house, and they'll tell you that the father owns the children. If you want to go, you can go. But over there,
the couple
issue. The man leaves the house. The woman owns the house. And they will tell you, they will even tell you that she's the owner of the children. So that's why we have a lot of African men that married over there. That you see them run back home. Only them, they will not come back with any children because the woman did not. So there are things that worked over there that cannot work. And we just have to understand the fact of where the region we are and where we come from. We don't have to always put side by side the Western culture. Because the culture we came... when we're discussing this issue of Western culture, I tell people that there are things that we should not even compare. We should not even compare.
We're two different people.
We're two different people.
I think we've
from our background, a woman that gave birth to a child. No matter, yes, I know that there are times that we have parents, mothers that overdo or do some things that annoys their children, and then even when my father or mother annoys me, there are ways to tell them back that you have done something wrong for me. Like, not to the extent of now taking my mother to court. Or
I think we've seen good results of that in countries like China and the rest.
Sure, you understand.
But our time is fast spent. We've spent a lot of time. Our guest was really, really expressive. Thank you so much for joining us. And I think I would end this conversation on the note of being accountable for your actions, whether you're an adult, whether you're a child, whatever it is, whatever situation you find yourself. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Viewers, that's how far we can go on this segment of Daybreak Africa. Not just this segment, but the entire production for today. We'll see you guys again tomorrow, same time, same station. From myself, Racheal Abioye, and from our guests, Kenny Awujoola and Grace Cofie, we're saying bye-bye.
Bye.